What's tea, y'all? I know some of you are out there right now having a hard time, having problems in your relationships, having trouble with life. Or maybe you're on social media swiping and swiping, thinking, why can't that be me? Why can't I do that? Well, I'm here to let you know that you can. This is Create Your Own Story with Terrell Garnett, where we not only help you create your own story, but we let you tell yours too. Let's get into it, y'all. What's good, people? I got another guest here, and I should see. I left my tissue box over there. I feel like I need to blow my nose, but I'm not going to get up because I have shorts on. And the camera's going to see it. But anyways, I'm going to let my guest introduce himself right now.
Hey, what up, y'all? My name is Ivan. I go by the name of Ive when I'm doing music, things like that, but I go by the name of Ivan for the most part.
Okay, so what's funny is when I seen your name, I looked up your music and everything, and I'm like, 4, because I'm thinking IV, for, the number 4.
That has a lot to do with it.
And then I looked at your name again. I was like, Ivan. I was like, oh, maybe it's like IV or Ive or something like.
No, it's for both, really. 4 is a number that, if you're from Antelope Valley, it means a lot to that community because when I was in high school, it was this star football player, and he was a 2-sport guy. And I think a year after high school, he had died, and he wore the number 4. So a few people after high school, they kept that on by wearing number 4. And I was one of them. And I was fortunate enough to play after high school and play after college for a little bit. So the IV is also to represent the 4, and then just as Ive as well.
That's awesome. You said you're from Antelope Valley?
So I grew up half of my life in Carson, California. And then I'll say the next half, I was in Palmdale, Court Hill area. So that's Antelope Valley area.
Yeah, I'm familiar with the area.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, let's just get into the podcast. Is there anything you want to say first and foremost before I start anything?
No, I appreciate you having me. I appreciate you being on here and getting to talk a little bit. Pretty cool.
Humbleness. I've had a lot of people on, and not to discredit anybody else that I've had on, but you seem to be one of the most humble people that I've come across.
I appreciate that. That means a lot. Man, I just keep to myself and try to work on a lot of things that I have to work on while I'm here on this earth.
I feel that. So just to get into some more dialogue with everything that's happened, the last 2-3 years with COVID and the pandemic, and then even social injustice and everything, how has that shaped you so far?
Well, when the pandemic first hit, I was actually right before I was playing basketball up in San Diego. I was playing out there for about a half of a year. Then I moved back out here to Ventura when it got pretty bad. And I wasn't even doing music, man. I was doing construction with a friend of mine, and we're staying out here. We had plans to get a place together, and we were doing construction at the time. And I say probably like when we went on like officially lockdown, where we really couldn't do nothing, man. Like we couldn't do anything. I think I started touching music back in that probably like September, October, November. Around what that was 2000, was that 2020 or 19? 20? Yeah. I probably did my first song back then, which was really horrible, man. It was horrible. And I was just doing it for fun at the time. Mm. And, just trying to pick up new hobbies and stuff. And I had some friends that did it. And it was so bad that I wanted to keep trying it, but I didn't really have access to making music. I didn't have equipment and stuff. So I wasn't really messing around with it that much. So I just was working and things like that, just normal stuff. And I ran into some friends that had a studio, and from October 2020 to today, I was working on music, but still not at a consistent rate. And then I'll say when April hit of 2021, that's when I started taking it serious, and I just kept going after that. So it's almost gonna be a year. April 30th, it'll be a year.
Okay. So question for you. Like a lot of people, like I've heard your music. I mean, of course, I'm gonna play it now, and I think that you're pretty good. But a lot of people that get into the music industry or whatnot want to do music have been doing it for a long period of time, or like they knew that this is what they wanted to do.
Yeah.
But if music wasn't what you wanted to do, what was?
For me, I'm so into basketball, man. It was like, it was controlling my life at one point. And when the pandemic hit, it just made me realize that there's other things to do in life. And I was just trying to search for something that can replace the feeling that I have for basketball. And music was it. Music is the thing that replaces my feelings that I have for basketball. So I took that and I ran with it. So if it wasn't music, it'd be basketball. I'll probably pursue it, probably give it another chance to pursue it. If not, probably look into coaching. But for now, I would say that music is slowly taking over that passion that I have for basketball, but not entirely though.
I love that. I love that. So what would you say right now life is teaching you?
How to be patient. I probably like three things: how to be patient, trust in myself, and to slow down. What I mean slow down is like, I don't really listen to my gut often, which I should. So that's something I'm working on as well, is listening more to my gut than anything else.
And why don't you listen to your gut?
And when it comes to myself, I'm just hard-headed. You know what I mean? When it comes to myself, I'm just hard-headed, and I see that a lot, and I feel a lot when a first thought comes up. I'm like, nah, that's not how I should go. And then come to find out, I should have went with that first thought. So I'm just working more at it. This is the most I've ever worked at it, and I hope that I can continue to stay consistent with that.
Okay, so staying with your gut and go along with the same thing. What is something that you find that you often do over and over? Like, what's the same mistake that you make, or the lesson that you keep learning that you, I guess, haven't learned?
That's a good question. A lesson something I keep making as a mistake. I would say probably being impatient. I would say that. With myself though, not with things outside of me, just with myself mainly.
Can you elaborate a little bit on that?
Yeah. So we could take music for example. Soon as I'll get a beat and I really love it, and I could finish a verse in that day, I would want to go and do it right then and there. But that's because I want to and I want to get it over with, but it may not be the time for that. You know what I mean? And I could have rushed it, and then it don't come out how I thought it would, and then that's gonna make me frustrated. So that happens a lot, where I will rush things in my life and not necessarily letting the universe take toll and letting the universe do its thing. You know what I'm saying? And take control, instead of me always wanting to just pretty much do things on my time, when I can feel it a little bit too, and when it's like I'm rushing it, but I won't necessarily listen to myself. I just go against the grain a little bit. Yeah.
And what do you feel that you take for granted right now?
The things that I have. And it's crazy that you asked me that, because last night, not to put too much personal business out there, but I'm driving home from a game, and I see a lady in a drive-through, and my first thought was, that she wants something to eat, right? And then I'm driving back home and I'm thinking like, damn, man, I low-key been complaining to myself about things I want to happen. And I have a roof over my head, I have a car, and she has none of that. Mm-hmm. So instantly, like, that made me think about that, like just being appreciative of the things I already have. You know what I mean?
No, I love, there's this song that by 3LW, it's unreleased, called, I don't know what it's called. What's that song called? It's Not All About Me. That's what the song's called. Yeah. And in the story, he talks about, or they talk about how she was rushing to get to work or something like that. And she like parked her car somewhere to run into this thing. And then she ended up getting a ticket. So she's all mad. And then she's like rushing and there's somebody on the freeway and there was a big accident. And she's like, oh, damn, like, why can't this just go? Like, you know, and then she go, you know, her destination, and she finds out that the person that got into the accident on the freeway was someone that she knows, and they died in the accident. And she was like, wow, like I'm being like impatient or whatever you want to call it, inconsiderate and only thinking about myself when other things you know, are going on in this world, and I'm like complaining about the traffic that somebody just passed away. Like I'm complaining about traffic, someone just lost a loved one.
Yeah.
And there's like another line like in the chorus where they're talking about like, I used to complain about not having the fresh new kicks or whatever, but I met a man that had no feet, or, you know, just little things like that. Like we complain about something, but like somebody always has it worse.
Exactly. And that's exactly my point, man. Like we should definitely at all times, like reflect at the end of the day, like, all right, you can get paid tomorrow and be broke the next day, but as long as everything is paid, that's all that matters. You know what I mean? That's all that matters at the end of the day. So that's one thing I've been noticing, and just to correct myself when I do get like that.
Would you say that you're hard on yourself?
Yeah, man. Very much so. Yeah, I am, and sometimes it's not justifiable. Like what's the point? You know what I mean? Like, I need to just trust. Like I said, I need to just trust myself, and that's mostly one of the things. Like I'll be hard on myself for little things. Sometimes it's worth it, and sometimes it'll give me a headache.
Yeah, you can kind of sense when some people are like hard on themselves. I don't allow other people to be hard on me. Mm-hmm. I'm not that hard on myself. Like I mess up on something, like I notice like it's the littlest simple things. Like I've noticed people like they'll mess up, like, damn, why am I dumb, or why was a stupid thing to do, such and such, you know, and they're saying this to themselves or whatever. But I don't speak that on myself. Like I don't say anything negative about myself. I don't, because it's important, because you start to believe that, or you start to, you know, and then if you're saying that stuff in front of other people, why would anybody else say anything positive about you if you're already going to put yourself down?
Yeah, exactly. That's a crazy thing too. Like it's easy to talk bad about yourself, but when it comes to saying positive affirmations about yourself and stuff, like you can see some people stumble and stuff, and they have a hard time believing that. But yeah, just like you, I don't really come at myself like that. You know, I don't do that. I just, when I do get hard on myself, I'll just be like, man, like, you know, like just, all right, let's work a way to get through it now. Like I try to focus on a positive outlook rather than like just staying focused on that, because it could deteriorate yourself. You could deteriorate yourself doing that.
Yeah. So I did this. I know you said you listened to the one that I had with Dagan last week. And I did something on that podcast with him that I actually haven't done before. But I felt like it was needed in that moment, but I wanted him to say like things that he was proud of himself about. And in that moment, when I asked him that question, I realized that like people, that's like a question nobody really asks us. Like, what are you proud of yourself about? Like, what are the things that you feel like, you know, accomplished? Like, take a step back, look at yourself and say like, Dan, I'm happy I accomplished that. So with saying that, I'm going to ask you the same question, and I want you to give yourself some kudos.
You want the one thing?
No, well, it could be several things that hurt, you know? It doesn't got to be just.
Man, you know what? I honestly don't use my time to think about stuff like that. But one thing I can be proud of is not being afraid to. I'm proud of myself for not being afraid to let people hear what I've been making. You know what I mean? There's things. So if I ever put something out or preview something, it's because I'm proud of it.
Yeah.
So, and this is a new avenue for me, music, and not a lot of people expect me to do music. I didn't even expect myself to do music. So, being almost a year, I think that I'm pretty proud of myself from what I'm creating. So I just put it out there, and I don't really expect too many reactions or too many people to like it, but since I love it, I'm just like, I'm gonna put it out there, and maybe it could connect 1 to 10 people's ear, like, you know what I mean? Because we have a certain amount of followers. So
Yeah.
if somebody can relate to it, job well done. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah, that's how I feel about like my podcast, for instance. Like it's I'm doing it for about a year now too. It was like a year in February, and like you want things, like you said, being patient. You want things to happen overnight. Sometimes you want to be this big success, and then you got to remember, like, that doesn't always happen. And I always like thinking of like the Tamar Braxtons or even Money Long, this or that, like they weren't successful overnight. Like they worked hard. Like Tamar had 3 failed record deals before she actually made it at the age of 36. So, and makes me think like, okay, well, I have to remember that I'm not on anybody else's timeline but my own.
Yeah.
And I feel like with how social media is and society and stuff, they make you think that if you don't have these things, or if you're not at this level at this age, then you're a failure, which is not actually true. You can define your own success.
Yeah. And another thing is, as far as being proud goes, is I never gave up on myself, whether in just not whether, but just in life, period. You know what I mean? Like, I just keep it pushing, keep it going. No matter how hard times get, I just don't really fold that much, So that's one thing to be proud of for anybody, honestly. If you're still here to this day, and you made it over a certain age, so, and you healthy, you have friends, I think that's something to be proud of as well.
No, most definitely. I remember I always relate everything to a song. If you haven't noticed, I'm a music person. But there's this song by Michelet, and it's called Hurt or whatever. I forget what it's called. But besides the point, she was telling a story regarding like how she tried to commit suicide. She took a whole bunch of sleeping pills, a whole bottle, and she was like down. And then she woke up the next morning. So like and then it really made her think that like, dang, I tried everything to, leave this earth, and it's really not my time. Like it wasn't meant for me. Like I'm supposed to do more or whatever. So just along with what you were saying, that like if you are still here on this earth, then like it's a blessing to wake up, and we take that as simple for granted.
Exactly. And that's that. Hey, when you look at that, and it's just like, now you feel like a lighter load is on your shoulders. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Well, I'm gonna play one of your songs, and it kind of goes along with the thing that we're talking about, but Don't Want You to Sink. Tell us a little bit about it before I play it.
Yeah, I actually was, the day that song was made, I was at work. I was working from like 3 to 11, and the producer I work with, his name's Retro, and he texted me like, come to the studio tonight. And I'm like, all right, I don't get off till 11 o'clock. He's like, doesn't matter, come ready to work, right? So I get there, and he's making a beat, and I'm focused on something else completely, right? And he makes a beat, I write to it, and we came up with Don't Want You to Sink. So Don't Want You to Sink is about a friend that we were kind of worried about because he was drinking a lot, and it wasn't becoming a problem, but we were just worried, you know what I mean? So And at the time, I was talking to him throughout the day and stuff like that. So that just came about. It wasn't planned. That's just how it happened that day. And Don't Want You to Sing is pretty much for people that have friends, or if you feel like yourself, if you feel like you drowning, so to say, there's people you just have to be open to opening up to them. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, let's get into this record.
Kick your pride to the door. Kick your pride to the door. I don't want to kick your pride to the door. Kick your pride to the door. I don't want to hear we lost too many loved ones. We ain't shed no tears. We've been in debt since birth. All we make it disappear. Got the car off the lot. Paid the lesson 1 year. Practice how I need to perform. Working on switching gears. I'm handling my paperwork like I started with deer. We play by our own rules. Don't know karma live here. We can't get shit done. Your body filled up with fear. This belief at its highest level. Use me as a vessel. I know I'm one of the ones inside. I feel special in my bones and my spirit. Can't tell me I'm the mirror. Holla back if you hear me. Holla back if you hear me. I don't make sure you can jump to. I make sure for you to think. I need you to focus. I miss you as soon as you blink. I keep you above level. I don't want you to sink. I know the alcohol calling. I don't want you to drink. I keep you above level. I don't want you to sink. I know the alcohol calling. I don't want you to drink. Yeah, I don't want you to drink. I know the alcohol calling. I don't want you to drink. Yeah, I don't want you to drink. I know the alcohol calling. I don't want you to drink. Hey, just come and fuck with me. I know the alcohol calling. I don't want you to drink.
I like that record.
I appreciate that, man. It means a lot. It means a lot.
Did you, before like doing music, were you ever into like writing poetry or anything like that?
Yeah, when I was in high school, I wrote a lot of poetry my sophomore year of high school. And then after that, I didn't really touch on it that much. I used to write it though, like every week I did. But you know, like back then you just, you write what comes to mind, but it wasn't like deep or anything, like big words and stuff like that. You know, I take it as it was like elementary type poems and stuff like that. As far as wording goes, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Would you say that you're an expressive person?
Nah, not normally. It takes me a lot to get to that point. So, but it's different when it comes to music though. Like
I asked for a reason. I'm gonna play another song later, and that's why I asked that question, because you referenced something about that in the song. So I don't want to get into it because I'm gonna ask a lot more questions to go with that song. But I'm right now. I don't want to forget it later.
Sounds good.
But yeah, I feel like I'm definitely an expressive person. You really never have to guess with me if I don't, for lack of a better term, fuck with you. You're gonna know I don't really fuck with you.
That's a good quality to have that I wish I had. That came out easily. You know what I mean? So I don't knock it at all. I don't.
Are you expressive with anybody, or is it just something that you like? Why do you feel that you're not so expressive?
Nah, I'm really not with anybody, man, and it creates a lot of downfalls for me. But why I'm like this, I have no idea. Probably, a lot of things go back to how you grew up and stuff, and I just don't remember like my family talking about problems, or my sister or my mom, like really, you know what I mean? So it wasn't, I didn't get accustomed to it because it really wasn't around. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That makes sense. I don't know why I'm like, I don't know why I'm like the way that I am. Because like saying like, yeah, my mom never really expressed much or whatever, never did. No, it wasn't until like older where she was more expressive of things, but I had, at that point, I was already the way that I am. And I don't know where I got it from. I don't know.
Yeah, man. Somebody got something to do with it.
Yeah, it has to be, but like, I don't know whom. Like my family's not like that. Like we don't really, unless like they're not expressive unless it's about they're about to fight, because you clearly
Exactly. No, bro.
yeah. So I know you're not that expressive. However, on my podcast, I like people to open up.
Yeah.
I ask certain questions, so I may push the needle with you a little bit.
Yeah,
but
I know what I signed up for.
yeah, I'm comfortable with anything. I don't care. No, I'm just kidding. But my question for you is, what makes you insecure?
You know what? To be honest, I don't even. It might sound weird, but I don't even think like that. Like I don't. Like obviously in some area everybody's insecure, but I don't let it bother me though. You know what I mean? So I would say
straight off is open.
If I can't make somebody happy, maybe, or like help somebody in the way that they need help. And
I don't mean to cut you off, but like I do want to say is that never put the pressure on trying to make somebody else happy on your, because you cannot make anybody happy. I know that we're taught differently, but you really can't. Like if someone wants to be happy with something, like you can do things and bring somebody some joy, but be happy, that's not something that you can do, and you're gonna fail if someone's literally, like, let's say going through depression or going through something serious and you're trying to make them happy and it's not working. It's just gonna put you down. So don't ever try to make anybody happy.
Yeah, but I mean, if we're not gonna count that, and then when it comes to self, I would say like belief. I would say belief. My belief isn't always at an all-time high. You know what I mean? It's just in my ability to do anything that even goes back to basketball. Like I know what I'm capable of, but sometimes I'll let one thing like kind of like throw me off. You know what I mean? Like today in the studio, I had a hard time with a song, like trying something new, and I got discouraged. So I would say that's like an insecurity I have. Like if I'm not good at something right away, I kind of like beat myself up about it. You know what I mean?
I feel that. I have to always remind myself. I remember the job that I currently have. When I first started there, I was like, the training period, I'm like, this is whack. Like I can't do this. And then I had to moment out, close my eyes and think that like, okay, well, I've been through worse things, or I've been through something similar, or I've been through, and I got past that. So this is going to be no different. Once I got in that mindset, then I was chill. Like I swear everything starts in your mind, which is so everything, no matter what it is. Like if you,
that's the battle.
Yeah, that's almost the whole battle. Because you could talk yourself out of a blessing or talk yourself out of something, that because you, like you were just saying, you get discouraged because you didn't nail it the first time, or it was too hard in that moment. But it's the mind, like you really gotta believe in yourself.
Yeah, exactly, man. The mind conquers all.
Seriously, everything starts and begins in your mind. So
Okay, exactly.
Pray over your mind, if nothing else. And how do you respond to emotional pain?
Let's see. If I can't deal with it right away, I normally just do something else to distract myself, whether it's going to work out, watching movies, going to do music. But now that I'm older and I've been doing music, it kind of some way ends up in a song. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I would say it's journaling at the end of the day,
That's
but
good.
I'm presenting it over a beat. So now I could deal with it a little better than I usually do, but it depends on who causes it, where it comes from. But I'm into talking about things, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I know when I'm wrong, and I admit when I'm wrong. Now, if I have a hard time believing that I was wrong, I'm gonna put up an argument. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So If that answers your question.
No, it does.
Yeah, that's the best way I could put it. Can you hear me?
No, I totally, yeah, I can hear you fine. I totally get where you're coming from. I don't, people like to say that I like to think that I'm never wrong, which is not the case whatsoever. I just don't ever, the only time I put up a fight on anything is when I know I'm right.
Yeah.
So gives you the illusion that I always think that I'm right. But if I may think that I'm wrong, I'm not going to even say anything. So I don't always think that I'm right. You always think that I'm right. That's why you're saying that. And then on the occasion when I am wrong, I'm the first to apologize, or, you know, and then I think that is a blessing and a curse, because no matter what the situation is, I usually am the first to apologize, even when I'm not wrong.
Yeah.
Just so things can just die down. Like I don't believe that life is too short. However, I believe that we waste too much time on stuff. So I try to just like, why are we even fighting? Why are we even arguing? And 9 times out of 10, like people may be upset, but you're not upset with me. You're upset with the situation. You have an issue with me. You have an issue by yourself, because I don't have an issue with you. And it'd be like that.
Exactly. A couple years, well, I'll say like a year and a half ago, I just recently understood that like people project a lot on other people. So you got, I think, go ahead.
I had a podcast. I don't know who I had the podcast with. Oh, it was this singer, Shay Atkins. And she said on the podcast, that I'm never going to forget it. She says that like a lot of times we just take things so personal that aren't personal. Like sometimes people get mad at you and it ain't even about you. They mad at something else, but they take it out on you, or, you know, or they just.
Yeah, I'm guilty of that too, man. I'm pretty sure we all are at some point.
Yeah.
You know, taking things personal that you shouldn't take personal. So I understand. Yeah. I understand where she's coming from 100%. Yeah.
Like I feel like that's helped my actually just getting over certain situations. Like I lost my best friend. He's not dead. He's just dead to me. Yeah. He's well alive. He just died on me. And I felt like I had that podcast literally the week before we stopped being friends, and I felt like it helped me in the sense of like, you're upset. I don't even know why you're upset. You're not even upset with me. You're just trying to blame me for something. But it's whatever. Like you have your own demons that you're dealing with. So I'm not even going to take this personal. We just ain't going to be cool. Yeah. And I felt like if I didn't hear her say stuff like that, I would have taken it way more personal than what it really was. It wasn't even about me. You're mad at something else and you're just taking that out on me. Be mad at me. I'll be the blame. I don't care. At the end of the day, like you're the one that's really suffering, not me, because I'm fucking amazing. And we gotta have that same level of confidence no matter what. But do you want to get into the next song by you? And this is the one where I'm going to ask you a lot of questions.
Yeah, let's do it.
This is Ocean Henny, and I'm going to play it first, and we can talk about it after. You already know.
It's me. I tried to, but you couldn't take it. His love locked down, threw the keys in the basement, fucked you late at night. Roddy Rich Entertainment, watch the way you get yourself. Being trustworthy, dangerous when I kiss you on your neck. I fell in love with your fragrance when I see you in person. My eyes just stuck there gazing, wondering if it's just me. I'm as proud as I could be. Almost gave up on myself until I saw you on knees. Please, hear me out. I was drunk off the Henny when I called you out. It's how it is when you going through a drought. Could've made a scene, got in my car and peeled out. Want you to take over the drive while I build you a well house. Paint pictures to get paid for my stories like Paramount. You gon' go or you gon' stay, I need you to figure it out. You won't deal with a nigga cause he ain't got his own house. I did a whole semester spending my nights on the couch. Here's my love, I wanna show you what you ever was singing about. Your way was really selfish, one way in, one way out. I fucked up one time, she said, this really what you about? Mistakes get made, how you expect me to learn? I can't do it on my own, I need your help to return. You all enough for attention, that's your self-concern. Maybe I'm better off by myself. Maybe I'm better off by myself. Never asked I for the help. He never asked you was for self. Maybe you better off by yourself. Maybe you better off by yourself. You never asked for me to help. It's me. You self-sufficient, but you needed some help. You can't communicate, I never knew what you felt. Think I'm hard to talk to, you holding over my head. We keep going back and forth, love leaving me on red. Say I'm too closed off and that won't get us ahead. Miss the days when I roll over and I could feel you in my bed. This could be my fault, I rushed in and said it led. But you felt my confidence whenever I had your legs spread. Yeah, it's on me. Finally realized how fascinating you could be.
So tell us about the song.
I'll tell you about it.
I was gonna ask him.
Nah, what's crazy? What the crazy thing is, man. When I wrote this song, it wasn't to that beat. I was on I couldn't sleep one night. I was on Instagram and this one producer, he posted another producer's like, you know, when they repost, like when they post a post, and he was like, I was bored. He said I did a Drake sample or something. So I clicked it, you know, and he sampled Yeba's Heartbreak on Drake's recent album. And he put a beat over it, and it was like, I was like, immediately, like my mind just started like flowing, and he posted the beat for like 50 seconds on a post. So I wrote him, because I wanted to see if I could write to it first. So I wrote him. I was writing, I wrote him, and then I asked him if I could buy the beat. And I'm waiting, like just waiting, because I needed it to finish, you know what I mean? So he never wrote me back to this day. Never wrote me back to this day. And I put the song on hold, and I think I was on YouTube one day, man, and I found a beat, because this was a time where I wasn't getting any beats from the dude I usually get them from. And I found a beat, and it was very similar, and I was able to finish the song and stuff. But this isn't about anything recent, that song, even when it came out. It's actually like a lot of things put into one. It sounds like I'm just talking to one person. Majority of the time I am, but some of the times, like, I'm not. This goes back from when I was in college to after college, and to one of the last relationships I had. And mainly just, the song is called Ocean Henny because I met this girl, and the first time we ever hung out, we was at the beach, and we was chilling at the beach, and we was drinking Hennessy. And when I was done with the song, I'm like, Ocean Henny might be a good title. You know what I mean? I'm like, and I ran it by the dude. He was like, yeah, bro, that's a good title. Because I like to name things that people don't have already, because it will be harder to find a song.
Yeah.
So I like to name songs that are easier to find. You know what I mean? Yeah. So that song is about, from when I was in college, from the women I've dealt with until like that day I was writing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So may I ask how old you are?
I'm 28.
Oh, okay, you're old. Same here. I'm not 28, I'm older than that, but so you've been through some things. You've been through some struggles and stuff in relationships, whether it be with friendships or in a committed relationship. And I like to say that all relationships are the same. Just the difference is the level of intimacy. Like, just like you would work on a relationship with someone you're dating, you should work on the same with friendships, because they're pretty much the same. Like, sometimes you love your boys or, you know, your girlfriends, you know, more than you actually like your significant other, you know. Sad to say, but it's true.
You know,
are important. Like, even in like it's a known fact, it's scientifically proven that you can not live without friends, but you're able to live without a significant other.
Yeah, and you know, you always got that one person that sets that bar high, and it makes it harder for the next person. And you know, I'm not afraid to say that she set that bar high. real like a great person. You know what I mean? So just bad timing. You know, that's all it was, and just got to move on from that. But you know, people got that person that sets that bar high and things like that. So I mean,
I feel that. So my question for you is, with like in the song you say that you know, like I said, hard to open up and stuff like that. Do you find that that is a contributing factor of why certain relationships haven't worked out for you?
Yeah, most definitely, man. Especially when I was in college, it did. It's, you know, it still does now. I can't even lie. Like, you know, it still does, and I feel like when I'm ready, I'm ready. You know, when I'm ready to open up, because when I tried it, I felt like it slapped me in the face, kind of. But just because it didn't go my way, it doesn't necessarily mean it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
But
and you might up to the wrong person. Sometimes we do that.
yeah, and I did, but I mean, you got to forget too. Like, some people are not ready for that. You know what I mean? That's
Yeah. Remember, there's something that happened to me years ago, and I was expressing it to, you know, just being open with people, and some people like were like, oh shit, like they couldn't handle what I was telling them.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, okay, well, I'm realizing now that I'm opening up to the wrong people, because like, if you can't, like, I don't need you to do anything for me. I just need you to listen.
Yeah, I had one woman tell me, like, I'm not your therapist, and I'm like, that shit threw me off. Like,
yeah.
When you said that, I'm like, yep, it's over for anybody else, or even moving forward. Like, yeah.
Well, I hope you do still try to open up to people.
Yeah, you know, I mean, that was an emotional moment
It
you know, I was
definitely gets like that, because it's like, and then like when you find people that are actually willing to hear you out or listen to you and be there for you, you're already so damaged from what happened back then that you don't even accept or embrace what you have in front of you.
Yeah, absolutely. Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. So what let me just ask you another question so I don't get to get too much into your business, but what would you say that your greatest strength is?
As far as
just in general, your greatest strength, it could be, you know, what do you feel like, you know,
you're like giving in all aspects, like just giving, like whether it's helping somebody or giving somebody something, whether it be a ride, whether it be advice, money, just things like that. Because the field I work in is just like, I'm giving my time to these kids that are going through a mental crisis right now, and it makes me feel the best, because I'm doing something beside myself. So I feel like giving is one of the things that are my greatest strengths.
Yeah, I love that. I feel like I'm a really I remember when I used to work at Vans back in the day, somebody was saying that that I was one of the meanest people. They're like, but at the same time, you're the most generous person I've ever met. And I'm like, and it made me think, oh, well, generosity doesn't actually have to do with niceness.
Yeah.
Like, you can be an asshole, but still be very generous. Granted, I'm not a mean person. I'm a very giving person. I just joke a lot. So I can be an asshole, or if someone comes at me, then, you know, I'm going to come back at them, you know, like, I don't, you know, but I know myself now. And back then I felt like I was a lot more reckless with things that I say.
Mm-hmm.
I would say whatever I thought, and whatever I meant. And a lot of times some things are just better left unsaid.
Yeah.
And I learned that the hard way from hurting people's feelings or whatever. And some things I don't necessarily regret it, because I learned. And some people, I think that like, well, you shouldn't have dished it out if you couldn't take it. But going back to the song and everything and that you've been through, what have you learned from your past experiences in relationships that you are going to do different going forward, or that you are doing differently?
I'm going to take my time. I think that's a big takeaway. I need to take my time. I need to be willing to give myself.
You froze.
Me
You
not.
rewind what you said. Froze. So I didn't hear what you said.
Okay.
You give the.
Say it again.
You froze. So all I heard was give myself time to, and then you cut out.
Oh, yeah, I need to, so give myself time to give myself a chance. Give myself a chance to open up and not necessarily push people away, because I have done that, not even knowing, you know what I mean? Because I'm not giving them exactly what they're giving me. So whether that be opening up and time to just like talk and give my opinions on stuff and things like that, because ultimately I don't like to hurt people's feelings. Like I really don't, you know what I mean? It's not something I like to do. So I think being mindful, just taking my time and speaking my mind is a big one, like no matter what, and try to do it in the most respectful way. So I would say those things right there.
Okay, that's good. So if somebody was talking to you, you're in the talking stage or whatever the fuck that even means nowadays. But the talking stage and stuff, like me, so I'm a certified life coach and relationship coach. So somebody was talking to you, or if I have a friend that was talking to you, or not you, but just in general, somebody, and they're not opening up and they're not, well, for instance, I have a friend right now, I'm not going to say her name, so I'm going to put her business out on Front Street, but she's talking to this dude that she likes or whatever. And she hit me up because one, my specialty, and two, he's in the Aries like I am. And she was like telling me this stuff or whatever. And I'm just like, well, you're crying over nothing. Like, this is why he responded to you that way, because that's not even a big deal. Like, you got upset because, his ex liked his pictures. Like,
yeah, that shit is crazy.
Yeah, like
that shit off the wall.
And she's all like, yeah, and I was like there crying in front of him about it, and I'm all like, yeah, he probably thought you're a little crazy, like that you're a little, you don't have it wrapped too tight. But she's like, yeah, but he just doesn't show me any affection, or he doesn't show me that he actually cares. Like I can text him a whole thing or whatever, and he just doesn't really text back at all. Yeah. And I was like, well, there's either two things. One, or a few things. One, he's not a big texter. Two, he might not be that into you. Or like, like he's just, not ready to open up or whatever. But with that, I always tell people, I was like, if you haven't shown any progress within 3 months, then there's no point in even continuing to talk to somebody. So with that being said, do you find that it takes you longer than 3 months to open up to somebody, or do you?
It depends on, yeah, but ultimately it depends on that person's approach, energy, and effort.
That makes sense.
And so half the time it's not even up to me. You know what I mean? Just like it's not up to them. It's how you.
Definitely is up to you. But I get where.
Like, as far as opening up, like I can stop myself from opening up, but if this person makes me feel comfortable, then yeah, like that's just what it's gonna be. That's why I said it all depends on this person effort and how they treat you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So how they validate you.
So what do you do in that scenario? Like what like, so because for me, when I'm talking to somebody and I don't feel like they're really opening it up or whatever, like I'm not going to try harder. Like she's scrapped. Like, because I'm giving you all of this. Like I'm a very open person. I like to say that I'm an open book. You just have to choose to pick it up and read it. So for you in that aspect, do you find that it's hard for you to actually get close to somebody if you're not opening up?
Yeah, most definitely. That's a yeah, that puts a roadblock, man, because you shouldn't even let it go on that long, personally, like if you feel like that. But that's definitely it won't really create much, you know what I mean? You won't get that much effort. You won't get much out of me because of the way how I feel. You know what I'm saying? If I don't feel strongly about something, I can't give it my all.
Yeah. At least you know that about yourself. Are you doing things to help, like to work out? I it's not a muscle, but in a sense, it's kind of like a muscle. Like you work it out. Are you doing anything to work out in that area
In which area exactly?
to just open up more to people? To give, like you're a very giving person, as you said, you like to give everything, but then you said that you really don't give yourself in a sense. So I feel like you find it easier to give a lot of other things, whether it be a ride, money, or time. But when it comes to your inner being, you're not giving that. So that's why it's probably so easy because you give everything else.
Yeah. Yeah, I know as I progress in life and as I move forward on a day-to-day basis that is something that I do need to do, because I look at it like this. If I was to go tomorrow, if my time was called tomorrow, like I would need someone to share those things about me. You know what I mean? Things that I'm keeping away from people, I'm gonna need someone to share those things. So I think that is a quality that we all need to have. And that only does us harm. You know what I mean? Only does us harm, doesn't do no good. So if I keep looking at it as a positive, I think the more time goes, the faster I'll eventually put a buffet on the table, just go all out. You know what I mean?
It's fun. And I was thinking right now, you're saying that you're an impatient person, but you're not impatient with that.
Yeah, no, I'm not. Yeah, not at all.
So another question I have for you is, if heaven was a moment to relive over and over again on earth, what would your heaven be?
I really have this picture that is stuck in my head. Like, have you ever watched the Tiny Desk? Any Tiny Desk?
Yeah.
Really? Okay, so I picture myself showing people my art, like crowd of people, whether it's like 20, 30 people, and that I just really focus on things that I'm talking about. It's like the music. Like, if I can do that over and over again, I will go home happy every day. Like, no matter what, you know what I mean? Like, I just was able to speak to 30 people over a beat, and they were so engaged and they had a good time. And it's just like, that would be a huge heaven on earth experience for me. That Tiny Desk in itself, and just being able to have not even thousands of people, not even hundreds. Just give me 30 people. You know what I mean? I'll take 30 people and just let it go, and just go. And that's like a heaven on earth experience for me. You know what I mean? So simple, but it's more effective for me at the end of the day.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So, what do you think the hardest thing about the choices you've made has been so far?
You cut out? Can you say it again?
So what do you think the hardest thing has been about the choices you've made so far in life, that is?
Trusting that everything will work out.
Why is that?
Because like it goes back to where I said I don't listen to my gut. You know what I mean? So, and then when I actually do, I just hope and trust that things will work out for the better. If I have to leave certain situations, even though I didn't want to, but deep down inside I know I have to, that I hope it, eventually comes and spins back around in good favor.
I feel that. Would you say faith is big for you? I know on my last podcast I was stating that, like, for me, my faith has things that nothing else could have.
Yeah, I like faith. I like that a lot. I like faith as just in general, man, because you need it. You know what I'm saying? In anything you're doing, whether you're doing music, you're doing your podcast, you got a chef over here, like, faith can move mountains. You know what I mean? So I would say, yeah, that plays a big part. That does.
Well, I want to get into this last song that I'm playing. This is one of your new singles called "Tell Me Why."
Oh yeah, that's unreleased too. So I'm looking to release that next week. Actually.
All right.
Yeah.
So let's get into this.
Tell me why you wanna play it safe. The cards always dealt, you wanna throw them in my face. Want me to hunt for it Easter egg Sunday. Avoid my intuition, it told me go this way. Got a question, I don't want you to take it the wrong way. Tell me why, if it's a problem, we keep the area gray. Your truckload problems feel like an Escalade. With the tinted windows, they drive in LA. It's either get A, running shit at my pace. Put my feelings on hold, it's a slap in the face. Told me to hold on, I hit the side of your neck. While your pride protect, I treat it all respect. Tell me why, this is me at my best. Healing is my focus, don't wanna talk about stress. Run my fingers still, yeah, while I lightly caress. Made me work from the start, wasn't easy access. Found my way through the cracks, you know I like to finesse. Sipping murder till she wrote, we know that wasn't the case. Yeah, you know that wasn't the case. Sipping murder till she wrote, know that wasn't the case.
Serving, baby. It's easy to tell that you're doing all of this on purpose, baby. Lately, a lot of women know they wanna get a little taste. You swore if I fuck with you, it wouldn't be one way. I've been trying to see where you stand from the back, though. You barely giving half of my need that other half, though. You like to see the way that I work, but don't reciprocate. Gaslighting my intuition is not okay. Gaslighting my...
That's an exclusive. I should have like a little thing that says exclusive. Wait on it. It's coming soon. But tell us about the record and your thought process behind it.
All right, so before I got the beat, one of my homeboys, he was going through a little problem with this girl he was talking to, and he felt like she wasn't giving him what he was giving, and he was running into a lot of roadblocks with her, and she wasn't really like giving half of what he was giving. She wasn't trying to make it the whole thing. So we was joking around and shit. And he was like, yeah, you got to make a song about that. And I kid you not, like a day later, the producer sent me that beat, and I'm listening to it, and I'm like, fuck, this is perfect. So I texted him, and I'm like, hey, give me a little bit more information of how she make you feel and things like that. So that song isn't about me. That song is about one of my homeboys and something he was going through. And I first recorded it. It was just me on there. And I'm like, man, what can make this song better? Like, and I'm like, you know what? I got the perfect person. And that's Future and Quiet, one of my guys, man. He always does his job. And he delivered, you know what I'm saying? So he made the song so much better than I could. So it's based off of, we went in the same direction. So that made the song even better. So yeah, it just, me on the outside looking in at somebody's relationship, and I just wrote about it.
I like that. So what would you say your biggest hope for the future is, for yourself or just humanity?
For myself is I want to be able to, on a daily basis, just be proud and just be able to put myself in situations to shine light on other people. And for humanity, man, I really wish if we can all just, as far as the music community goes, it only takes a little bit of support. And if we can get everybody on board with that, man, a lot more people will be successful. I think like that. If you don't be too judgmental and stuff because you know this person, don't be afraid to share that music with somebody, because one ear can lead to another and another and another and another. So I guess just spreading love in a positive way, man. Being understanding and open-minded and optimistic. Those are big things that I like to walk life with, is being optimistic and just being understanding. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's good that you said that. In regards to like promoting, is literally just word of mouth. Like as I said earlier, I had worked for Vans a while ago, and for 50 years they never did any self-promotion. They never paid any money to do self-promotion. So for them to be one of the biggest shoe companies in the world, and for 50 years they didn't do any ads, they didn't do nothing. It was literally all off of word of mouth. That tells you.
That shit is crazy.
But I feel like today with society is like a lot of times we don't want to see each other win.
Yep. And it blows my mind too, because I'm like,
and sometimes it's not even that we don't necessarily want to see somebody win. However, it's like we don't want to see somebody win before us.
Yeah, and I just, like, even to this day, man, like, honestly, if I'm following somebody that does music and I know them personally, I'm reposting if they post something, even when we get off of this and they post something, I'm reposting it, just because even if I don't like it, somebody else might like it.
Yeah.
Creating something for them that I don't, that I have no idea. Like, that's giving them a new listener. Mm-hmm. And it could create some type of avenue for them, man, that I have no idea. So I make sure I just spread that. And if I do like it, I make sure I let somebody know. Like, even if I'm DMing them or writing on their comments, like, I'm not afraid to do that at all. Like,
show love.
Yeah, just spreading that.
I respect that. That's kind of the whole premise of why I wanted to do the podcast in the way that I'm doing it now. As I have stated on several other podcasts, that it was a different platform. I was doing like the whole hot topics thing at first, and then I was a little like life coaching knowledge in there from here and there towards the end of it. But I realized that the stuff I was saying was funny. Mm-hmm. It was a jokester, but at the same time, like, I don't want to put somebody down by making it. And I one of the last ones I did, I had stated, and I don't even think it's online anymore, but I had said something about Meg the Stallion, and it wasn't a bad thing about Meg the Stallion. I didn't. What I said was, and I'm okay to say it here, that I didn't understand how Tory Lanez shot her in the foot of all spots. Mm-hmm. And I was like, what was she doing, galloping away? But it was a play on the word stallion. But then at the end and afterwards, I posted the podcast, and then I thought about it. I'm like, I shouldn't have said that. Like, I should not be making fun of someone getting shot. Yeah. Like, it's not a funny situation, no matter how it happened or whatever the case, or, so then I went on the next podcast and apologized for the stuff that I said. While it was a funny, tasteless joke, and we say stuff like that amongst our friends or stuff, I don't want to be that person to put that stuff into the atmosphere. I want to spread positivity. So with changing the whole podcast around, like, I know that I used to work in the music industry, and I wanted to be able to mix something that I'm passionate about. Like, I've always wanted my own TV show, and I always wanted to help people in the industry. This isn't on TV, but it's on YouTube now. And I'm helping new artists. So it's kind of like the best of both worlds in a sense.
Yeah, man. You never know, man. YouTube is damn near TV too. You know what I mean?
No, this stuff be addicting. Like TikTok and YouTube, Instagram, you get on it, you watch one video, and one video turns into 30. Yeah. Where's the time gone? Like, and so my favorite question that I ask everybody is, if you had the chance to have an intimate dinner with 3 people, doesn't matter who they are, whether they're living or not, who would those 3 people be, and what would the subject be at hand?
do they have to be influential people, like somebody we all know, or just like anybody?
Anybody you want.
Can you say it again? I couldn't hear you.
Anybody you want.
My uncle is one of them. I say I got a homeboy named Rodney. That's another one. And my third one, I wanna bring a woman on that table, man. Yeah, I want to. I bring my mom. So I bring my mom, and there's a reason why. I bring my mom. And the subject at hand would be, I'm not a selfish person at all, but obviously this dinner would be about me because I brought these people.
I feel that though.
Right, you know what I mean? So I would want the reason why I said I want to bring a woman is because, and it's my mom, is because there's a lot of things that she doesn't know, and these other two people that I brought to the table, they know what I do, but they don't know how passionate I am about doing as far as music goes and stuff like that. So I picture this dinner as an accomplishment to something I've done with music personally, and I'm speaking into the future. I want to bring them there, and I don't want to tell them, like, thank you, because the first two people I lean on when it comes to music and things like that. And then, my mom, so she gave me life. If it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be able to do some of these things I would be able to. She's the reason why I'm so independent too. So that's one of the strongest qualities I have. So I'd like to bring them to that dinner and just talk about things that I've accomplished and things that goes on with them that they've accomplished, and things that I can help them accomplish moving forward. Because I'm picturing myself at this dinner, and I'm able to put them in a position to where they can accomplish things they want to.
Are they all three still living?
Yeah, they are.
So when are you going to schedule this dinner?
When I feel like, this is, I'm being honest. When I accomplish something that means something to me, not necessarily just to the world. When I accomplish something big enough for myself where that can be rewarded with a dinner. And when I picture taking people out, I want to be able to pay for everything, because that's one of my biggest things. Like, shit, get whatever you want, man. Don't, you know what I'm saying? Don't worry about it. Get whatever you want. You know what I'm. Shit, if you want the whole menu, do your thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get you. I feel that. What I was gonna say is don't downplay any of the accomplishment that you've already made. I mean, you put music out there. There's so many people that are so scared to even get in the studio to record a record. Let alone
telling me that today too.
See, that's God right there telling you to appreciate and to realize how much you have already accomplished. It's little to you, but it's really a lot, because some people don't even have the nerve to do that.
Yeah, it's a lot. Yeah, man. I kind of like, after I do something, I'll just move on from it. I won't reflect on it. So that's the thing that I have to get better at, like reflecting on things that I've done and music that I've dropped and things like that. I just need to reflect on that and be mindful of the things I was capable of putting out there, speaking and things like that. So that's something I have to work on.
Yeah, I know that feeling. I don't like, so for instance, when I started the podcast, I said in like January of last year, the person that I wanted on the podcast, one of the top 3 people I wanted on the podcast, one of them was this artist named Samo. And because I love his music, and it helped me out a lot in a time that I needed something to help me out, and it brought me through it. And I always hear people say like, "Oh, Mariah Carey brought me through this," and I'm like, "How music gonna do that for you?" You know, like I love music more than just the next person, but like it ain't ever really brought me. You know, like I'm not thanking Mariah Carey for this or whatever the case is until I experienced it and what it meant. Just certain songs and the time that I was going through. There's a song called Apology, there's Let You Go. And it really helped me to let certain friendships and relationships go and literally focus on myself. And to this day, it still helps. Just a reminder, but I actually got him on the podcast like less than 3 months later. And when it was done, I'm like, oh, okay, what next? And I didn't appreciate it in the moment. Like I didn't, because I was already, what's next? Okay, what's the next thing? And I feel like a lot of times I feel like a lot of people do that. Like we accomplish something and we don't take the time to really enjoy it. We're on to the next thing. And we take that for granted. Like that's huge. Like, for somebody that's, making music and being on award shows and all this stuff to sit down and talk to me who I am a somebody, but in the whole grand scheme of things, I'm a nobody. Yeah. And I didn't.
When I first started making music, I wrote this song called "Hard on Yourself," and it was majority talking to myself, but the person I was dealing with at the time was hard on themselves, and then I was thinking like, damn, I'm the same way, but I'm like catering to you so you can kind of lighten up on yourself. But after I wrote that song and I recorded it and I sent it to my homeboy and I sent him the song and he was like, bro, this is good, right? And I'm like, I really wrote this shit. Like I was so in awe, like how I pieced it together and stuff. And I'm just like, and that's to this day, that's my favorite song, like that I put out, that I've written. And I told myself, like, I probably won't write nothing as good as this anymore, but I have, you know what I'm saying? But it's just crazy, like, when you write something good and then you be like, I probably won't write nothing like this ever again.
Yeah. Have you ever experienced have you ever experienced something like when you're in the moment, you're like, damn, this is fucking amazing. And then you go back and listen to it and you're like, oh, it's not as good as I thought it was.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like Tell Me Why is like that. Like when I wrote it and I was writing, I'm like, it was coming out so like fluent, and I'm like, okay. And then when I heard it, I'm like, I ain't too crazy as I thought I would be about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the song we did with Deegan too, it was I posted that, it's still on my Instagram. The song is called It's Unreleased too. It's gonna be released soon. It's called You or You. And I wrote it and I'm writing, and it took me like, trials and tribulations. Like it took me 3 verses to get the verse that I got. Like, and after I recorded it, I wasn't crazy about it, but then I keep listening. I'll keep listening to my stuff daily. And I'm like, you know what? I'm like, this is one of the times where I gotta realize, like, I can rap. You know what I mean? Like, I can rap a little bit. Like, I can rap a little bit. Like, I was really talking, like, you know what I'm saying? So that's one of those songs, and because the producer, he'll be like, this is hard, and I'll be like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, like you think everything is good, like, and majority of the time he right, but that time I kind of brush it off, and then I'm like, wait, hold on, like this is good. And then I posted it a few days later, and shit, a lot of people was commenting on it, and I'm like, damn, like I wasn't expecting that, you know what I mean? And it was overwhelming, like, so it's always a good thing when I post it, and then it's always a cool thing, like when people write, on the comments and stuff and tell you their thoughts about it and stuff, so it's cool.
Yeah, I've had that experience still with certain podcasts where I'm like, oh, this one was freaking so good. Like people are going to get a lot out of this. And then in the editing process, which I no longer do now, but editing process, I was listening back to it and I'm like, oh, this shit wasn't good at all. like it wasn't that good. Like, I don't know, like the conversation I had with them was good, but it just didn't translate over when we're rewatching it. And there was another one where I thought it wasn't that great. And then I listened back to it. I'm like, oh shit, like this one was really good. Like I feel it when I was in the middle of it. So it's a crazy thing how you perceive things.
Yeah, exactly, man. That's why I remember like different ears, different eyes. Like I'm just one set of them, and you got so many people in the world, and some songs like Ocean Henny, I don't like that song. I don't, because I gave so much. I don't like it, but that's my most popular song.
Why don't you? So do you not tend to give a lot in your music?
No, just like I gave a lot in that song. I give a lot of my music more than I do to people. A person, but I gave like so much that like I just, that's why I'm like, man, I don't like this shit. Like, it's like looking in the mirror, like,
yeah, you're vulnerable.
Yeah, and I was just dishing it out, and stuff was coming so easy. I'm thinking it back to certain situations where I was wrong, where I was right. That's why I flipped the page. Like in the beginning, I'm saying like you were selfish, and then at the end, I'm like, damn, I was selfish too. So you know what I mean? Yeah. So it's like one of those things. But I mean, shit, and I say like, shit, if people like it, then it don't matter what I think.
Do you find that you're selfishly unselfish? I know that probably doesn't make any sense.
I think I took that as like, am I so selfless that I'm selfish?
Yeah, sometimes like you give so much or whatever, or you do certain things or whatever, but it's not for the other person, it's for you. Because I'm guilty of that sometimes. Like I like to give a lot. I'm a giver, just like you were saying that you are. And sometimes like I'm doing these things and then I'm like, it's really not for the other person. Like I'm doing it because it makes me feel good.
I don't know. That's something I would have to pay attention to, but I don't really have motives when I do things for people. You get what I'm saying? Like I just do them because something inside of me is saying like, this is something you have to do. So
I don't put that on me.
It just, I just, we different. Everybody's different. Everybody think different. You know what I'm saying? So that's not a bad thing to have though. That's not, because at some point you got to be selfish though.
Yeah, and sometimes it's hard to for me at least to take that and be selfish and do something for myself. And sometimes I don't even know what that looks like to focus solely on myself. Because one little thing can knock it off, and I'm not on that wave anymore. But what's next for you? What's next for you, your music and your life?
So I'm doing actually it was new to me, and this is one thing I'm proud of. Like I'm doing a show on Saturday with a live band. So I had a rehearsal on Monday.
Your story or something, you posted something about your rehearsal or something.
Man, and I played the beat for them, and like none of them said anything to each other, and they just like caught on and came at like they just caught on to it. And
that's amazing.
I'm just like, this shit is crazy. Like I took that experience as like if someone just accomplished like a life goal, you know what I mean? And I haven't even really performed it yet in front of people, but so I have the show on the 23rd. I'm doing 2 songs with a live band, which is something that I was looking forward to doing, like when I started music. I'm going to release a song sometime next week. I'm releasing Tell Me Why. I have a feature that I'm on that's gonna release pretty soon. One thing that I'm against, and I know I have to do, videos. So that's something that will be new as well. Say it again.
I know somebody.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll talk after.
Yeah. Yeah, that's something I'm against doing, but I know I have to do that.
Are you?
I just don't like the idea of me acting. I just don't like, because I'm not like a enthusiastic person. Like I'm not really animated only when I'm doing sports. Like when it comes to music, I'm like I could just, but
Are you boring? No, I don't want to say boring, but are you boring? Are you not as animated when you're on stage live and stuff? I say
go ahead.
I say that there's certain art, like I feel like a lot of R&B singers get a bad rap, whether men or women, because acrobats or they're not doing all these things or whatever. But with rappers, like they could do the fucking bare minimum. And that's why when I go to concerts, I tend not to go see rappers, because it's like you have your whole freaking entourage on stage with you, and that's not entertaining. I could watch this on YouTube. But then there's our artists like J. Cole or even Wayne. Who else is there that I've seen that are really good live? Big Sean, even Kid Ink, that like they work the stage and like it's just them and the mic or whatever, and they're entertaining. They actually do put on a good show, but most rappers aren't like that. So what would you say, like, have you gone through training or have you gone through any of that stuff, or you work
I haven't been through training, so I've done 3 shows so far since I've been doing music. So my second one, I would say, was my best one, the one that Deegan was a part of in them. So what I do is no vocals in the background. I'm off the instrumental, and I'm the whole time I'm rapping. You're not gonna hear a pre-done the song that's already done. You know what I mean? And in a way I engage is I'm looking at people, and at certain parts I might point at you and like talking to you. I remember when I was performing Ocean Henny, and there was a lady in the crowd that I knew her in certain parts, like she was right in the front, and I would be like rapping to her, you know what I'm saying, sometimes, because I'm not the type to get in the crowd with them and jump all around.
about that?
You know what I mean? I'm cool with being up there by myself. But the way I interact is I'm a rap at you for however long I gotta be up there. I'm gonna be engaged with you as far as like looking at you in your eyes, and that's probably like the most I'm gonna do it. And I think as I keep performing, it'll get better and things will happen naturally. But what helped me out a lot with performances is speech class. When I had to do speech class in college, because you nervous, like you gotta speak in front of your peers.
Yeah.
In speech class, you gotta get these speeches, you gotta get persuasive speeches and all these other speeches. So that helped me like with the eye contact and just, not being shy and stuff. So I think that helped me out a lot. And just like rehearsal, when I'm like today, I rehearsed when I went to the studio, I rehearsed the 2 songs I gotta do. And I always ask people too that have been in my shows, like, hey, is there something I could do better or fix? Even when it comes to recording music, that's one thing I do. I listen, like, because I know I'm not good, so I need to know, like, hey, not too many opinions, but as far as like the performances goes, like, what would have made that show better, and what can I do better? So for this crowd, I don't know how it's gonna be, because I know kids are allowed and stuff like that, and we have the live band. So I feel like this one is more of a fill out, and you just vibing and stuff like that. But I think as I keep progressing, I just see how I also look on YouTube a lot to see how other artists is like that I kind of have the same similar style as. I look at them and see how they interact and stuff like that.
Okay. I like that. Do you have anybody there to record your performances?
So the last 2 I did, they didn't record the whole thing, and that's on me too, because like how you were saying, like being in the moment thing and being proud of it. Like I didn't think nothing of it. I'm like, I'm gonna just perform and that's it. And the performance ended up being really good. Now it's a blur to me. I don't even remember. Like I had to ask my homeboy, like, hey, hey, how was the performance? I asked him like a week after, I'm like, hey, how was the performance? He like, bro, it seemed like everybody was just stuck, like when you just started going, like, and I'm like, damn. And the only clip I have of that is like a slow motion video of like a minute with no sound, and you just see me like moving in slow motion, and you can see the people, and they do look like focused in. But this one though, I'm gonna have somebody there. Like even though it's 2 songs, I feel like this would be some good content because it's with a live band, and this is something that I can post everywhere. And then you never know, you know what I'm saying? You never know what that could bring.
Yeah, and then also just you can learn from what you see as well. So I was asking the question, you learn off of certain things. I'm a performer. I can't sing, but I've done shows. And I just literally to make some cash. It's kind of funny that I had. We used to do this. What do you call it? Like this gala type event, and they were doing like talent shows, and I'm like, well, I'm not, I'm a creative person. I don't necessarily say I'm super talented, but I got, something or whatever. So the first one I did, I was like, they're saying they're offering $500, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna win that $500. Like, come on now. I'm one of the only Black people here, so I'm winning this straight up. So I had, I don't know if you know the song Circles by Marcus Houston.
Okay, yeah.
And I mixed Tempo by Chris Brown in the middle of it. Mm-hmm. So came out, I was sitting down, came up, popped up or whatever, and I did like this dance routine that I created. And then I threw the jacket off or whatever, and like went into the song Tempo, and I had like this dance routine. I will say I give credit to Chris Brown. He's freaking amazing. Nobody can do what Chris Brown does. Because I was trying to get some of his dance moves down, and I'm like, how? And like, you make it look so easy, and it's not. But besides the point, like after I had one of my friends videotape it, and I don't even know what the hell he did because there was no footage. And after I got off the stage, I honestly didn't even remember what happened. Like it was just gone. Like, maybe it's the adrenaline or whatever you go through. And I won first place. I got $500.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I did a Justin Timberlake medley, and I felt like it was a train wreck. Everybody was so entertained. I looked freaking fire. Literally, I was red from head to toe. But I felt like I could have did a lot better. The performance is pretty trash. But I still won. But I say all that to say, looking back at that footage, and I posted that footage it's on Instagram. You can see what you could do better at, or what you can, work off of. Because sometimes, like when you're in the moment, like I don't know if you think when you're performing.
No, I just go.
You
like
zone out.
I just go. Yep, I just zone out and go. That's why I think it was such a blur to me. But now that you mention it, I'm about to get on the phone with my homeboy that was there. Now I know he was paying attention. I'm about to question him to death. Like,
yeah. There's little, like, I swear, like, even just for rappers and stuff like that, just working in the industry, there's just little things that you can do. Something so simple by even touching a hand, or just something so simple, like, that you have to, like, try to be mindful of it. And it's really hard when you're in the moment, though. But
no, that's good advice, though. That's good advice.
Just with rehearsal and everything, I've seen many of shows from many different people, and I've worked with people, and then a lot of things that I noticed. I was saying this to somebody the other day, that I went to a Kelly Rowland concert once, and I was there concert. She brought Eva, everything. I was like, oh, she killed that. Like, I was like, she killed that show. And when I got home, it was on TV. So I watched it on TV, and I'm like, is this the same show? Because this is trash. Like, it translates differently it will translate differently when you are looking back at it, but it's still good for you to look at. So just a little tidbit. But where can the people find you?
On Instagram, my ad is Dooley 2x2, which is DOOLEY 2x2. My music is everywhere under I, capital V. I'm on Twitter, but I'm not that active anymore because somebody hacked my old one and I just had to make a new one like a couple months ago. And I'm really not that active, but it's the same ad as my Instagram.
Yeah.
I refuse. I know I need to give in, but I refuse to make a TikTok. I refuse.
Do it.
I know I have to.
Dude, I think Dagan, when we were talking about the TikTok stuff and how we're kind of like perfectionists in a certain sense, so like it's hard for us to make videos to do stuff, but definitely get on the app, and because it's literally gonna just like elevate your music and elevate people listening to it. Like, why hinder your audience when you know?
Exactly. Good point.
But I do want to thank you so much for coming on the podcast and being so gracious and open. Any last words that you want to say to the people? Anything?
Yeah, I appreciate you giving me the time to speak out and having me. It's a good time for me. No dull moments. I mean, if you listen to the music and you like it, good. If you don't, hey, I don't like everything Drake doing. That's one of my guys. So I understand. But that's about it, man. I appreciate you having me as well.
No problem. Well, again.
And that's all we have for you today. I hope you enjoyed yourself on this episode of Create Your Own Story with Terrell Garnett. We'll catch you next time.